Yeah, I'm just all befuddled apparently this evening. Let me see if I can get that out of the way. Why do I have testing here? Hold on a second. What is this? Here we
And
go.
you got Restream 10 sitting there in the middle of the screen.
Scrolling text. There we go. What is this? Um, hmm. Yeah, I know about the restream. I just don't know what that is. Okay, there. Hey, folks. We're live, apparently. I'm not really sure. We're going to check that here in just a second on Facebook and make sure that we're actually live. Then we're going to do our countdown. And, well, we'll actually try to kind of have a show tonight. What do you think, dude?
I don't know. Were we live when I was talking about that person before?
There is a strong possibility, but at this point,
Oh my
it's,
gosh.
at this
What
point, it's anybody's guess.
what will we do?
Okay, I think yeah, we're live because I can see us live with the testing software down there, not a show. This is a live show, folks. Y'all tag your friends, get some guests. I know I didn't put out a little scheduled reminder. I apologize. We will be back here in about 2.5 minutes, so y'all know the drill. We'll be right back with a live show.
Got a better Boulder City. We got to share there. Did you get that one?
No, I hadn't got that yet either. You've been like going group
I,
happy.
I got it. I got it. Let me see here. Who have I missed? I had to have missed somebody.
I don't know. We're up to 18 people, so that's not too bad considering that we didn't promo this out or anything like that. And by the way, hey folks, we are live. In case you were on the first 30 seconds, I had a testing thing on the screen. We're not testing. We're actually supposed to be live here.
Well, what
So,
about Benton Town Talk?
I got that one and the Benton No Filters. I got that group as well. There's
Well, what
lots
about
of groups to share on in Facebook, people.
the Black Bayou homeowners?
I'm not in that one either. What are you like, Mr. Groupie now?
I did. What about We Will Protect Our Constitution, Louisiana?
God. All right. Well, look, before everybody gets bored being figuring out how much of a groupie you are, what do we have on tap tonight? Like, I am completely winging this as usual.
Oh, but you wing well. Okay, all I got to do is just give you a little seed and you can just go right on off. So tonight, I mean, Benton Road road rage. Who knew there could be road rage on Benton Road?
Huh, I
I
wonder
mean,
who the culprit of the road rage could be. Now that's a mystery.
I'll have to admit I do have that on occasion, but it's anyway, bitten strong, bitten
Okay,
strong.
yeah, there you
But
go.
but we also got, by popular demand, a review of the constitutional amendments. So
Right.
for everybody that's watching, a lot of folks, there's more things than a city council race, a police jury race. There's constitutional amendments on it.
That is
And we
true.
had
Yeah.
several people emailed and messaged us, said, look, can y'all talk about the constitutional amendments, kind of review them? So we're gonna review through all of those. We got some good information on those.
Okay. Yeah, as a matter of fact, the constitutional amendments, I think, are the only thing I have on my ballot where I live. So that'll be, kind of the only
Yeah,
thing I'm voting on. All right,
yeah,
anyway,
me
go
as
ahead.
well. And they're easy to get kind of twisted up because there's some. I mean, they're not hard, but there are, of course, that's just the way those things are. They can get you a little twisted.
Hmm.
So, Cypress District, of course, the gravy train of, called Cypress District.
Hmm.
How can we have a show and not mention Robert Berry?
Well, yeah, no kidding about that. It's like an ongoing, it's like chewing oysters. It just keeps going and going and going. And don't get me wrong, I love our oysters, but you don't chew oysters, folks. Okay.
Well, but for all of you folks in Bossier City, guess what? There have been some happenings down in Bossier City. We got some information for y'all.
Yeah, definitely some happenings down there. As a matter of fact, we had a hurricane recently, and so we want to give a shout out to all the folks that are displaced in South Louisiana or going through all that. But we've kind of had this little political hurricane, so to speak, going on up here, and it's continuing on, apparently.
And I hope I see Jamie Marie Pope. No, Jamie's down there. I hope Jamie is faring well. She's got internet, so I would imagine that she is entertained.
Yes, nonstop entertainment. Okay, anything else that we've kind of got on tap, or just whatever we decide, whatever tangents we decide to go off on?
Yeah, I think we'll ramble enough about all of that. But Benton Road, inconsiderateness, road rage, whatever you want to call it. I mean, Benton Road, there it is a okay. I don't even know where to start.
Yeah, I'm listening. Just get your soapbox out. Go right ahead.
Okay, so let me just tell you how this all started. Go to cut one,
Okay.
and let me just show this random vehicle. And before you play cut one, let me say this. You know what? If I know you, if you're a friend of mine or whatever, if you're not doing right, I'm sorry. I'm gonna call you out. And if that
Okay.
offends you and it pisses you off, you know what? That's your problem. You shouldn't freaking be doing wrong in the first place.
Well, I
So,
agree. I agree.
so earlier this week, I was having to come to town, having to take the kids to school, getting
Mm-hmm.
on Benton Road, and they on Benton Road when you're coming south, they got the cop in the left lane blocking traffic. Everybody's got to get in
Right.
the right lane and merge over. And guess what? When that happens,
Mm-hmm.
you always got these jack wagons that want to get in the left lane and they come flying from the back, don't get in line, and jump up there and cut across in
No,
front of somebody, right?
no way. Surely not.
I'm telling, and it just makes me lose my mind. Go to cut one, and
Here we
here's a
go.
video of somebody doing it, and I don't even know who this is. There they go.
Oh, I was making sure it wasn't me.
Well, if it was you, I mean, I was going to call you out, but here's the thing. So
Oh,
I
yeah.
made this video.
Bring it all the way from the back.
Okay, but wait a minute. Wait a minute. Hold on. Before we get any further now, have you heard of the zipper method?
I don't know what you're talking about. Zipper method.
No, I'm very serious. This is
Is this some kind of Bill Clinton thing or something?
oh, the LADOTD's put it out. This is a legitimate thing, and well, I guess it does kind of sound like a Bill Clinton thing. But it's called the zipper method of traffic, or zipper effect, or whatever, of traffic. You can go look it up. I'm trying to scramble and find it on the LADOTD site, but they literally recommend doing that certain number of people stay in the left lane, and if everybody in the right lane or whatever lane you're merging into leaves a car length gap and you just let those folks go over, everybody's happy. I'm not kidding. It's a legit deal. They've got like some little diagram of it. I'll find it in a minute.
So you're saying the LADOT is recommending that everybody jump in the left lane and just jump up there and cut?
No, it's not what I said. They recommend that the folks that come up on the left lane, that if the people in the right lane or whatever lane is being merged into will leave a, a sufficient gap, car length gap, which you're supposed to be able to see the bottom of the rear tires in the vehicle in front of you.
Now we're fixing to have our debate here. So you're saying, I see what you're saying. This is some leftist crap, like the same thing as if me and you were in a class together and we both study, or you study and make 100 and I don't study and make a 0, but we're going to do the averaging thing? No, bull crap.
I'm just telling you, hold on. I've got the diagram of it right here. Hold on just a second. It is called the zipper. It's called the zipper merge. I'm looking at it on their website. Hold on.
I'm not doubting that the LADOT did this. I mean, I can actually believe they would do some stupid crap like this. But what you're telling me is, let me break this down the way I'm hearing this. If you're considerate, you get in the right lane and you leave enough space for the inconsiderate to zoom up to the front and merge into the considerate so that we'll neutralize and even it out.
Basically, yeah.
That's some leftist BS crap only John Bell Edwards would come up with.
Hey, folks, somebody comment the zipper method. Is anybody else? I've got the diagram right here. In about 30 seconds, I'm going to pull it up on the screen while we're sitting here debating this.
Let me ask you a question. I don't mean to make fun of this. Do you think the damn zipper method was coming out of New Orleans and South Louisiana when that hurricane was coming in? Hell no, we ain't got no zipper method going on. We're getting out of here.
Well, probably not, but hold on. So let me get back over here, and I'm going to pull up the zipper method here. I found the deal. So this is posted on the LADOT site. I know it's a little hard to see, people, but look. All right, correct. Drive to the merge point over here on the far right. Drive to the merge point and reduce speed for merging. The car's in the right lane. Again, I'm over here in the far right column. Vehicles should merge one by one like a zipper closes. See, you thought I was crazy.
You're telling me that we are government funded propagating this dadgum, unicorns and
See, you didn't expect this at all. This wasn't in the notes. I pulled this off the top of my head. Look, what does it say over there? It says, be prepared to allow, listen to this. This is your own state telling you, be prepared to allow somebody to merge in front of you at the merge point.
All right. Well, I got one for you. So everybody watching tonight going down Benton Road in the morning, I want y'all all to get in the left lane and let's see how this all works out in the morning. I want to see what the hell that sheriff's deputy up there is going to say when everybody's in the left lane in the morning.
I want you to look on the left-hand column over here. It says, don't try to merge too early. You use that unused lane space. They're telling you don't get over to the last minute, everybody in the right lane or the merge into lane, leave a gap, and it just works great.
Yeah, well, I'm going to tell you, try that crap in the morning and so watch what happens. I'll take that ticket.
Let us know in the comments, zipper method or no zipper method. Are you a left lane or are you a right lane road rager? Okay, anyways.
All right, so, but Benton Road, it doesn't have just the inconsiderateness, the inconsiderate people cutting in front of the considerate people, trying to moderate out humanity to where we'll all be on an equal plane. We all get a trophy, we all win, right? Yeah, bull crap. Take that to the bank. But all right, cut 2. But there are other problems on Benton Road.
So let me see if I can get over here to cut 2. Let me get the zipper method off of here and let's pull up cut 2.
Now, interestingly, we got a police jury race, right?
Yes, we do.
And I ain't heard none of these candidates say any daggum thing about it. So if you travel up and down Benton Road in Bossier Parish, there ain't no way you're coming down Benton Road that you ain't seeing all this up and down the roadway.
So, it's big enough everybody should be able to see it, but what is this, like a beach scene with, oh, cigarette
We are
butts?
trying, like you see my screen behind me, we're
Mm-hmm.
trying to turn Benton Road and the Red River there, but Benton Road into beachfront property right here.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's what we're doing, with a sprinkle of inconsiderateness by all the smokers dumping all their cigarettes out on the edge of the roadways, so that what would it be like being at the beach that you didn't have cigarettes everywhere,
Well,
right?
right. Yeah.
I mean, to all you smokers dumping your cigarette, we appreciate y'all, considering everybody else in the community by throwing your trash out on the road and being considerate to all the rest of us. But all this sand, all this crap on the road. I mean, go to that, go to that. Yeah, this is my rant, y'all, and y'all can all be mad at me. And look, and if you're a sand hauler, that's fine. After the show's over, call me. We'll meet. We can settle it, the oil field way. That's fine. I don't care. I'm oil field. I know how it works. Let's handle up on it. But you go to that Facebook message that we sent, and I promised this person I was going to address this issue and share it. But we got two police jury candidates in a race. Neither one of them has addressed it, and this is a problem, and it is a serious problem. It's going to, and me being somebody from the oil field, and I know very well about the sand business. In fact, I can go
Right.
into detail about where the majority of this sand comes from on those Halliburton boxes,
Mm-hmm. Right.
not pneumatic trailers, but Halliburton boxes. And you say, oh, well, there's Liberty boxes and, High Crush and the other ones. Well, you know what? They're not the ones with the problems. It's the Halliburton boxes. And there's a reason and there's a difference. But show that video with that Facebook link if you can.
Oh, okay. Hold on a second. That's the yeah. Crap.
So
Give me this second.
everybody that's traveling up and down Benton Road, so whether y'all realize it or not, when you're coming down in your cars, I saw one of them new cars. I don't even know what it's called. It's a sports car. It kind of looks like it made a Corvette, like a third cousin from North Carolina or some crap, but it's like a really fancy car. And I'm laughing because I'm driving my old beater. Y'all know me, I'm old school. I'm driving my old beater, and I'm not worried about my car getting sandblasted. But this brand new car is zipping by. All this sand is boiling off this trailer. And every morning, all of y'all that are traveling down Benton Road, your cars repetitively are getting sandblasted. And over time, that wax job you do on your car, you're not going to get that luster out of your paint because of the repetitive sandblasting.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what? In the grand scheme of things, that's not really a big problem. It's not a problem at all.
Okay.
There's actually a bigger problem. So show this video, as
Okay.
one example.
All right.
Now that's some bullshit right there. Look how much freaking sand he's losing. Well, if I got a license plate lamp out, my ass gonna get a ticket. If I throw a damn Coke can out, my ass gonna get a ticket. But this son of a bitch here is sanding the shit out of the road. Good lord. Now that's some bullshit right there.
I gotta hit it one more time.
Freaking
Wait.
sand he's losing. Well, if I got a license plate lamp out, my ass gonna get a ticket. If I throw a damn Coke
Now-
can out, my ass gonna get a ticket. But
That's funny. No Coke
Now-
cans, but you can throw all that sand. Okay, go ahead. Soapbox is yours
now-
again.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. So the oil and gas industry, the reason they went to the boxes is because they needed to find a way to control silica dust emissions because it's cancerous, it'll cause lots of problems, right?
Right.
But yet here we are up and down Benton Road, just spreading all the sand that we want, and all these cars are flying through, throwing all this silica dust in the air. I wonder, in a parish that has the strongest noise emission standards in the country, I wonder if our local parish government cares about, our air and the air that we breathe. I mean, considering COVID, and COVID, there's a study that shows that the COVID virus, that 0.1 micron,
Right.
has been shown to be able to be carried on, say, a smog molecule or I wonder if it could even attach to a silica molecule that's even small, or as small as that, floating across the air, that all these cars are entraining. So the oil and gas industry, they're concerned about silica dust on their locations, but not too much on the roadway.
I'm looking at it from a sandblasting of a paint job standpoint.
Well, that's minuscule to the fact that if somebody gets one of these silica molecules inhaled in them and they get silicosis and end up dying, they're getting the exposure that these boxes are attempting to prevent on the oil field location. But all we've done is shifted the burden from the oil field location to Benton Road and the Bossier Parish Police Jury. I wonder what their thoughts are on reducing this.
Well, I don't know. Let me go off on a little side deal here. So I used to pipeline back in the 90s, and we were working on a pipeline in Laplace. You know, it was just got wiped out by the hurricane, apparently. Right there where basically I-55 stops, you go off, there's a swamp right there. I literally helped clear the right-of-way down there, and we were in there in chest waders with chainsaws clearing out the right-of-way first. All right, chopping down cypress trees before the buggies, swamp buggies could get in there. Anyway, we're in chest waders and basically, I don't know, knee or thigh deep muck and then, you know, a foot or two of water. I mean, endless swamp, and we're putting up silt fence. Literally putting up silt fence in the middle of the swamp. I mean, it's the dumbest thing I've ever seen.
Well, thank goodness you didn't get ate up like that cat down there in the hurricane by that alligator. Did you hear about that?
No, I didn't hear that one yet. We had plenty of alligators around us, but I had a chainsaw in my hands.
No, seriously, it's real. There's a dude down there in the hurricane, an elderly man. He went downstairs, and his wife was upstairs during the hurricane. Hears some kind of commotion downstairs. She goes downstairs, and her husband is in a battle with an alligator. And she tried to help him fight off the alligator. I guess they got it fought off. Drug him up on the stairs. She goes back upstairs. I'm presuming to get a gun. Comes back downstairs and he's gone, and there ain't nothing but a big pool of blood.
Really? No, I hadn't seen that yet. Are you serious?
Yeah, wow.
Wow.
I'm dead serious. That's one of the 3 or 4 fatalities that they're talking about right now. Yeah.
Wow.
It's legit. But
Hadn't
back
seen
to
that
this
one
sand.
yet. Okay. Yeah, back to this.
Back to this sand. So the oil and gas industry, I mean, look, and I'm pro oil and gas, and I am not anti oil and gas. I am not. And I don't want trial lawyers going after. But here's the damn thing. The oil and gas industry pushed to get to these boxes and to do all of this, and they're concerned about what's happening on the location. Guys, you need to handle up what's happening off location. You know, yeah, you've shifted the burden, and yeah, it's not your responsibility per se. It's the carriers, who almost all of them are not from Louisiana. Ask your legislators or people from Louisiana, why are all these trucks not from Louisiana? They don't care whether they're piling sand up on the road. You know,
Yeah.
and do you want DOT up there hooking them up every day and basically shutting them down? No, that's really not what we want. The drivers and the trucks are all going to say, well, look, by the time we do everything we have to do, we're losing money in doing it. So therefore, we're not going to do it, and it's not worth it.
Hey, I want you to look at the screen real quick. Can you read that?
And I know Mike Cummings, tell me I'm wrong. As a safety guy, Mike Cummings, tell me I'm wrong. He can't. I promise you, I'll look for him to say I'm wrong. I can't wait to hear it.
I had to put that up there. And yeah, Jamie Marie, I'll go find that link and share it out, because that's definitely a wild and sad story to get eaten
But
by
all
an
of y'all
alligator.
running down the road on Benton, when you see that big cloud of silica dust, just know you're taking your risk. And Bossier Parish Police Jury knows it. They got an enforcement division. Look, I cornered up one of the enforcement division guys on the street last week. Hey, when y'all gonna do something about that?
Yeah.
Well, we're doing the best we can do.
And look, I'm kind of making light of it a little bit, but you're absolutely correct, because that is very fine sand. It is a problem. It's a nuisance. They leak sand everywhere. I don't know. And I don't know what they're going to do about it, if anything. We'll see.
If I was a DOT guy and I was up there, I'll tell you, I bet I could put 50% of all those trucks out of service. if I was actually doing it. I bet I could. Anyway,
All right.
carrying on. There's my rant for the evening. Road rage on Benton Road.
Okay. And I've got some information to share about the Cypress District here in a little bit, but I'm trying to pull up these constitutional amendments because we had some folks ask us about that, that will be on the ballot. And let me see if I can find some good graphics for those. Let's see, make it easier to share here. I'm
Andy
looking for the,
Barnett, I've worked in the oil field. I mean, Ohio, Pennsylvania, West Virginia, North Dakota, South Dakota, Wyoming, Montana, Colorado, Utah, Wyoming, New Mexico, Arizona, Texas, of course, New Mexico, Mississippi, and Arkansas. Trying to think if I missed a state, but I've worked in every single one of those states in the oil and gas industry.
now earlier, did you mention that the PAR, have they put out their guide yet? Let me see.
I think PAR has one, but the Pelican Institute, I'll tell you, and guys, where we're going is to kind of catch y'all all up on the constitutional amendments. I'm pretty confident that the Pelican Institute, that is a reliable source, and I did reach out to John Kay,
Hmm.
and I said, "Where's the Pelican Institute on all these amendments?" And they are in favor of 1, 2, and 4. They are opposed to 3, and which incidentally, that's exactly kind of where I fell on it personally after I read through them. But
Hmm.
there's a lot of detail on these things, and if you kind of don't, and probably a lot of people are like, you know what, the heck with it, just tell us how do we need to vote? We need to vote, yes, yes, no, what?
Right.
But we're going to give you a little bit of the background. I think that it's uh, responsible of us to tell you the why that we know about these constitutional amendments so that you are informed. I mean, that's part of your responsibility is to understand these things and kind of keep a little bit of a track, and I hope that we're presenting it in a palatable way, that you can understand it, and that you will kind of take ownership and maybe tell somebody else, because some of these we need to do and we need to pass to make our state a better state and progress.
Yeah, and thanks to our good friend John Kay at the Pelican Institute. Their website is pelicanpolicy.org. So we're going to cheat a little bit and use their verbiage, and we'll discuss these as we go. So, and we'll try to keep this relatively quick, folks, because I know a lot of y'all may want to go, have to take a sleeping pill after this. But constitutional amendment number 1, which will be on the October ballot, is for a streamlined sales tax commission. So when they say that they want to streamline the sales tax commission, um, what are they talking about, Duke? I mean, that sounds good. They want to streamline something, so it must be, fairly decent, right?
Well, they've already got somewhat of a commission like that, and what I'm kind of gathering is that the structure of it and the way that it is previously, it doesn't cover all the bases, and basically they're just reorganizing this thing and providing for the method and how the members are appointed, who from, and like for example, you'll get one from the School Board Association, one from the Louisiana Municipal Association, one from the Police Jury Association, one from the Sheriff's Association, and one from the Department of Revenue or a designee of the Secretary of the Governor,
Mm-hmm.
one from the Speaker of the House, and one from the President of the Senate.
Okay.
And, I think, I'm not 100% sure, but I think this was one of the ones that, for the most part, passed unanimously in the House and the Senate. And it's not going to increase taxes on you. It's not going to decrease taxes on you. It's just the method of government and a refined method of collection is all it is.
So we're making it easier for the government to collect taxes, which in theory would make it easier on businesses, consumers, etc.
Yeah, it's kind of consolidating the process of the collection of the taxes,
Yeah.
and in some senses you may say that, well, I mean, right there, that here at the Pelican Institute says that we have a fragmented approach, and this is actually a more organized way of consolidating. I'm told that a lot of maybe say your smaller town governments
Hmm.
may not like this, or they may
Right.
not like it, or have had their complaints or what have you. But um, you know, I think it's definitely something that we need to vote for. It's not increasing; it's an attempt to try to reorganize and make things better. So I think it's
Well,
something we should be in favor of.
yeah, I mean, if it reduces agencies from 58 or whatever it was down to one, maybe that'll, yeah, maybe that is a good thing. Okay, so yeah, generally we're in favor of constitutional amendment number one, correct?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Constitutional amendment number two, Louisiana sales tax simplification package. That sounds really good. You got a quick summary of that?
Yeah. So now I got a little bit because when I first read this one gave me some heartburn because everybody that pays state income tax or what have you, um, you you know up to 50%. Once you get above the 50% range, currently you pay 6%, and then you're able to deduct your federal income tax, right? So this bill sought to amend that, and this bill is going to change it to where when you get above the 50,000 range, the rate would be 4.75%. But the thing is,
Yeah, how is the government wanting to not tax us as much? That sounds sneaky. It's got
yeah,
to be a
so if you
catch.
want yeah, so if you're wanting decreased taxes, I mean, you're reading this and you're saying, okay, so they're going to want to decrease me from 6% to 4.75, 4 and 3/4. Heck yeah, that sounds good. But wait a minute, the 4 and 3/4, you don't get the federal tax. You don't get to count that. Federal taxes. You don't get to count that.
Oh, so I guess for some people, I'm not be able to run the
Well,
math in my head
well,
tonight, but
that's
for some
it.
people it may work out okay, but for others, maybe not.
So you're thinking, to know whether this is good or bad for me individually, I'm gonna have to pull out a calculator and go to adding and subtracting and all this crap. Well, hang on. I'm gonna save you the trouble.
Okay.
So there was some verbiage that was out there, and I forget, it may have been PAR, it may have been one of these other resources that we kind of go to and we checked, and I read the verbiage, and it said the amendment would permit instead of require a deduction for federal income taxes paid. So that gave me a question and said, well, if it says permit instead of require, well, who decides whether you're permitted or whether you're required a deduction? Who makes that decision? A tax and spend liberal or a conservative? Who makes that decision?
Right.
So I had to do a little research, and I got with one of our local elected officials, and I appreciate his information on the subject, and he said no. He said, look, there's no permitted. There's no. It's clear and cut. If this passes and you go to the 4 and 3/4, there will be no federal income tax deduction on that. And
Hmm.
he said, here's the thing. He said, while that sounds bad, he said, we can't pass a bill that this bill had to be revenue neutral,
Yeah, they can only do
which,
that in certain years. Tax
right,
decreases or increases only in certain years.
right. So all the math people down there got to doing on all the calculators, and they figured out, they said, okay, to do this, they said, to decrease your state income taxes, to make it work to where it's revenue neutral, we have to drop it to 4.75%. We've got to do away with your being able to exempt your federal income tax. But either way, it in theory is supposed to cost you the same amount, right?
In theory.
So then your question should be, well, then why do it? If
Bingo. I mean, were they just
Why?
bored and decided, hey, let's pass another law? Or let's try to pass another law?
Well, and that was my question then. It was like, okay, well, why would we do that? And so Senator Brett Elaine, and I've met Senator Elaine, nice fella. I don't know him real well, but he is a nice fella. I have met him in Baton Rouge before. And I was told that what happened was, so you know how the tax foundation rates Louisiana on tax scales they rate all the states, from
Hmm.
year to year.
Right.
And I bet you can't guess where Louisiana has been ranked.
Oh, got to be somewhere close to the bottom. If it's a bad thing, we got to be close to the bottom.
Well, we've
Well,
like
I
been
guess it would be the top.
49 and 50th. We've been like, horrible forever. So Brett Elaine, from what I'm told, on his own volition, went to D.C., sat down with the people at the tax foundation, and said, "What can Louisiana do to improve their ranking?" Because the way it was explained to me says, you think about it, when you get these major corporations and people that consider coming to Louisiana, what are some of the things they look at and their considerations? Well, they actually look at different resources and where they rank states in regards to things. And one of those is the tax foundation, how they rank people. So Senator Lane said, what are some of the things we can do? A recommendation that he was given was to address our state income tax.
Hmm.
And that this was what I'm told is one of the recommendations. So that was how this came to be. They put this bill forward, and the bill passed, and here we are. So I would contend that if this gives us the chance by changing this, just simply changing this structure, it's revenue neutral, but by simply changing this structure, that will change our ranking in the tax foundation's rankings. That seems like an easy change to make that might improve our appearance in the eyes of major companies that are considering Louisiana.
Well, that is a good point. I guess that's a fair enough point. It maybe kind of simplifies the tax code a little bit or whatever. And yeah, I would agree. That's a valid reason for it. Okay.
So
We're
I'm
generally in
supporting,
favor for now.
yeah,
Okay.
I'm supporting that one. I'm going to vote for it.
Okay.
I don't know about you.
That sounds like legit enough reasons for now. Okay, Constitutional Amendment 3, changes to taxing authority of levy districts. I'm not sure I like the way this one's sounding, so we got the summary scoop on this?
Yeah, I do, and I got some problems with this one. Now, but I understand this one, but I got some problems with this one.
Okay.
And I got to tell you, I'm torn on this one. So, like right now, I mean, let's face it. I mean, and I hate it for everybody down there in South Louisiana that's flooded out. The hurricane killed you and got just ruined everything. Flood. I mean that you live down there. I think you expect that you're going to have to deal with this on a regular basis. But you got some areas
Right.
that are more flood prone than others. Remember, Rex, you and I hauling relief supplies down to Baton Rouge. I mean, Addis and
Yes,
some of
sir, I
those
do.
other towns. I mean, I can't even remember all the towns. Maybe you. I mean, we went to some place down there that it blew my mind. I mean,
It was all a sweaty blur of unloading and loading supplies. I can't remember all of it either, but yeah, I do remember the
hey,
trip. Yeah.
and maybe my wife Kara and our kids could remind me because we made trips that they came down and it was a
Right.
sweaty blur for them as well too. Um, but that being said, back to Amendment 3. Um, what this amendment does is it authorizes certain levy districts to collect a 5 mil annual property tax measure. So, and that's levy districts that were created after 2006. And there's a list of those levy districts that were created after 2006. Most of them are, I'm going to say, down around Baton Rouge to New Orleans, all those areas in there, like kind of when they had a lot of those different flooding issues, they recognized that they need to have a levy system and try to address some of that. Um,
Hmm.
so this is primarily around, and last year, or the last time we had a constitutional amendment on the ballot, the taxpayers of Louisiana voted in favor of uh, these levy districts to be able to, have taxing authority, as I recall. So, but now they're coming back with this bill, and there is a change in this bill. And this one, it allows these districts, these levy districts, to be able to tax without the approval of the voter.
Hmm. Now,
Now,
see,
where have we heard things like that before?
well, yeah, especially certain government entities that want to do bond initiatives, but they don't want the voters to turn them down, so they use other legally created entities to get around and sidestep the voters. But I want to back up for a second. So I'm going to throw something out here that may tick some people off about levy districts in general, and I'm really going to kind of pick on the Corps of Engineers, I suppose, more than anything. But part of the reason, and look, I understand where we're at with the levee systems in Louisiana along a lot of the coastal states and all that, okay? So I'm not saying we can go back and put that genie back in the bottle. But one of the reasons New Orleans floods so much is because of the levees. I hope everybody understands that, and I'll challenge anybody to prove me wrong. We've all heard the legend that New Orleans is below sea level, and it is. I forget what it currently is. It's I guess a foot and a half. I don't even know right now, but technically below sea level, and New Orleans is sinking, right? Well, do you know the reason that it's sinking, Duke?
Tell me, I'm waiting on pins and needles.
Yes, because the bottom composition is equivalent, and I'm keeping this really simplified. It's equivalent to kind of like peat moss, okay? And so the more that we have the levees to shift the water away from New Orleans so that they can build, buildings and parking lots and foundations and all that, the more that ground dries up and literally shrinks, and the worse the problem becomes. And then we pump more water out because it's lower, and we don't want hurricanes to overtop the levees or breach the levees and really flood. And so they divert more, and it's just a never-ending problem. It's like running, and again, I know the genie's out of the bottle, folks, but it's the levee system along the Mississippi to try to contain the Mississippi. We got to have it. I know that genie's out of the bottle, people. I'm just saying that a lot of these levee districts, it's insane. Look, even up here in Bossier, we have multi-million-dollar homes that are built inside the levees.
But Rex, you and I both know that a lot of the charges that failures of roads and things are because of water tables, and failures of sewer systems and things are because of water tables and sand and fluctuations of the river and such. And I don't want to get completely all into that. I mean, because Man Shack knows everything. But anyway, back to the Gulf. I did have a thought about the Mississippi River and New Orleans and that thought process. Now, our good friend, you remember Captain George?
Yes. Yeah, the shrimp boat captain.
Remember, I kind of found an alliance with those guys over, the wildlife fisheries bill going down there. And right. I don't know if I should say our good friend, I don't know who's your good friends with Bistineau Outdoor News with the Salvinia and that whole thing. But I'm trying to cover all the bases here. So, well, him and his whole fleet just got pounded by the hurricane down there. And, Captain George and a lot of the charter boat fishermen, when you talk about the Mississippi River, and there's a lot of people believe in the diversion through the Pontchartrain off, to rebuild the coast there or whatever, it struck me the way that hurricane came in. Maybe a lot of people don't want to redivert the Mississippi River because they believe if the Mississippi keeps building landmass right there off of the tip, of New Orleans and all out there, that maybe that would provide more protection to New Orleans and all of that.
Well, here's the thing. You can't stop Mother Nature as hard as we try. Now, it seems like Hurricane Ida so far, at least the levees so far and the pumping systems and all that, from what I've read on the news, have appeared to hold up fairly good this time. So that is a positive thing. I know a lot of people are suffering right now, so I don't want to make light of it. But anyway, I'll get off my soapbox about that. That can be a whole other show in itself. And we need to circle back to the constitutional amendment. I just have a problem when we talk about levee districts and them being able to raise taxes and raise the millages basically without a direct vote of the people.
Yeah, and so yeah, definitely getting back on the constitutional amendments and wrapping this up and getting to the city of Bossier and the crap that's going on down there. So, yes, I mean, it is unpalatable to have any government entity that's not accountable to the citizens, especially taxing. I mean, I couldn't envision myself ever supporting an entity that is unaccountable to, like the Cypress District, to the voters.
Yeah,
You know, and to be able to do what they do.
I agree. And
So,
speaking of unaccountability, folks, here in probably 5 or 10 minutes, we'll be talking for a couple of minutes. I promise not to be late tonight on the Cypress District. Okay.
so this Amendment 3, there's a couple of things to that you got to take in consideration. So this is, again, like I said, primarily for, and I can read them off: Algiers Levee District, Chainery Plain Coastal Restoration Protection Authority, Iberia Parish, Lafitte Area Independent Levee District, Squirrel Run Levee and Drainage District, St. Mary Levee District, St. Tammany Levee District. You know, I don't even know where all those places are, but I do know they're all down there in South Louisiana, and that's supposedly where they primarily. So you say, well, why are we up here in the Yankee land in Bossier Parish? Why are we voting on it? Well,
Yeah.
the thing is I don't know the complete details, but to get it on the ballot, it had to be that everybody was able to vote on it. But
Hmm.
here's my understanding in it: if Bossier Parish votes against it, then the levy district in Bossier Parish will continue to have to go to the citizens to get an increase on their taxes. But if the people in, say, Iberia Parish vote for it, then the Iberia Parish levy district don't have to go to the voters anymore. So it's one of those amendments that it's a kind of a per levy district thing. Whatever levy district you fall within, that if you vote against this, if you vote against it, they have to come to you and ask you for your vote on
Oh.
raising your taxes. If you vote for it, you're giving them permission to never have to ask for your permission.
So our position, I think, would certainly be we vote against or vote no to Constitutional Amendment 3.
And yes, I'm voting no, because even me vote that would be me voting no in Bossier Parish, and my vote won't affect. In theory, my vote won't affect, as I understand it, these folks down there. The decision they make is kind of sort of different than the decision I make. Now,
Boy,
you
that's
say,
confusing.
well, why would anybody? Those people down there ain't going to vote for that. Why would they do that? That's a good question. And why would people up here want this? Why would people in Bossier want this to pass in those parishes? Why would they want unaccountable government in their parish?
Hmm.
And I can tell you the answer. The answer is because if they don't, 9 times out of 10, the state of Louisiana is going to have to pay for the levees to be constructed in those parishes where they're needed, which are all of these listed,
Interesting.
which will
Such
end
as,
up coming out of our pockets in Bossier.
okay. Constitutional Amendment 4 allows budgeting flexibility during projected deficits. Um, and honestly, I didn't even read over this at all. Do we know who brought this bill up or who started this bill or this
Well,
amendment?
the thing that should be the most telling to you is, and I will say this: one of our former cockroaches of the week brought it
Hmm.
to my attention. I will give credit where credit is due, and that essentially locked my decision on this bill. It came from Representative Eccles. You remember Eccles?
Oh, yes, I do.
And I think his character is without question, and he actually brought this bill. And um, you know, in the House and the Senate, there was only one vote in opposition to this bill,
Hmm.
and that one vote was Karen Carter Peterson out of New Orleans.
Oh, she
One of
must be the
most,
most conservative people in the Senate, right?
she's one of the most liberal senators in the state of Louisiana. So
To say
that
the
ought to
least.
tell you something.
Yeah, if you're on the opposite side of her, you're doing good. Okay, so um, let's see. General notes here would increase the limit on funding reductions and redirections during budget deficits measures.
So
House post,
currently,
yeah.
currently the governor and the legislature, like they only have the ability of 5% to play
Hmm.
with.
Right.
This is basically changing it to where they could have 10%. It increases the number to where they can, as managers, you know, move things around to
Well,
10%.
and maybe then John Bell can't threaten to cut off LSU football.
Well, I will tell you that if you get down into the weeds on this bill, education is exempted from this. So for you teachers and your higher education people, y'all will be happy with this because even though this would change from 5 to 10%, if I'm reading it correctly, you are excluded from this, that you wouldn't have to worry about this. This won't affect you, but this will enable the legislature and the governor during budget deficit times to have a little bit more freedom.
Okay, so generally we're in favor of number 4.
Generally, we're in favor of number 4.
Okay. And I think that brings us to the last, and I'm trying to check the comments here, so I think that brings us to the last of the 4 constitutional amendments. That wasn't terribly bad.
It wasn't bad at all. I mean, if you can bear through that, I mean, you should run for office.
Yeah, and folks, we'll do another post. I'll have it show up here in the next couple of days or two on BossierWatch with our little guide to this. And again, we want to thank John Kay and the Pelican Institute for their good coverage and analysis of this as well. Okay, so I'm kind of liking this new chat deal because I can chat to both the YouTube stream and the Facebook stream at the same time. And we dipped down to like 28 people, so it looks like a bunch of people fell asleep during the amendments. Although you did a great job, dude.
It's time to come back. The boring stuff is over with. We're fixing to get to good stuff like, gossip and politics and amigos and David Montgomery and the council, the Don of Bossier City. I mean, did we ever decide, is he the Don of Bossier City or is he the Hillary Clinton of Bossier City? Which is it?
That's a good question at this point. So yeah, you folks in South Bossier, I got a theory here that South Bossier's just getting left behind. I think the party's over. What do they call it in politics? The honeymoon?
Yeah, the honeymoon phase is over.
I think it is. And I think the South Bossier folks, if y'all don't wake up, then it's going to be status quo moving on for the next few years till the next mayor's race. So we'll talk a little bit more about that.
Maybe Sobo ain't the only ones that need to wake up.
Yes, no kidding. There's some elected officials that need to wake up, namely our mayor, but we'll get to that. Let's talk for a minute about the Cypress District. Let me kind of get that out of the way. So any of you folks from the Cypress District, several people, there's been some controversy over Robert Berry's salary, and is it 157 or 150,000? Is it 120,000, or is it this, is it that? So let me again share out the definitive amount. Let me get this pulled up on the screen here and get it ready, and bam. So let me again share out. This is from the Legislative Auditor's Report turned in by Travis Morehart, the CPA and auditor for the Cypress District, I think the police jury, maybe even the city council, I can't remember. But anyway, trusted CPA, he's the guy that everybody goes to. He's the one that puts together the auditor's report and turns it into the legislative auditor's office, which is publicly available. And I want you to see right here for the year ended December 31, 2020. Now, remember, that's 2020, last year, main COVID year, right? That's when everything went haywire. Robert Berry was paid a salary of $128,678, a phone allowance of $900, and I'm sure he uses his cell phone, and they reimburse him or give him the allowance. That's fine, whatever. But earned accumulated leave of $29,023 for a grand total, if my math is right, of $158,601.
Well, I got to tell you, what the heck does he got, a damn satellite phone?
Well, $100 a month over 12 months, that'd be $1,200. So they're giving him less than $100 a month.
Holy crap!
I'm just reporting the numbers. But yeah, he could have a nice cell phone. I'm sure it's,
well, we know how you and report numbers are.
Oh, I know. I report the real numbers, and then they come back with their PR campaign, which costs more money to the taxpayers because they have the lawyers actually do their PR campaign. But that's a whole other story. Okay.
So I
want to verify. I didn't make these numbers up. Again, I've said this show after show. I didn't make these numbers up.
But this is from the legislature. They say you make the numbers up. You just dream them up out of thin air.
Here's what I did to these numbers. I opened it up in a program called Snagit. It's a screenshotting program, folks. Okay, I'm a tech guy. And I put the little highlighting, and I made the little torn edge border, and put the little red thing, and I did add that up. I hope I got it right in my calculator real quick. But that is straight from the legislative auditor's site. So Gary Weish, you can argue that all you want. You can pull the wool over the Benton Town Council and the mayor's eyes up there all you want. Those are the numbers. Now, we have one more.
Don't forget the city of Bossier, the school board, the levy board. Don't leave all them out.
Okay, yeah. Well, we haven't gotten away from them. The police, jury, everybody's in on this. Okay, and thank you, Candy. Yeah, those are legit numbers right there, but it's even more interesting. So I want you to remember right there, again, that's earned accumulated leave. Earned accumulated leave, okay? Now I want to show you the Cypress District's own accumulated leave policy, as again reported to the Legislative Auditor's Office by the impeccable Travis Moorhart, CPA and auditor to the stars up here. And notice, again, I did highlight this, but this is from their own report.
Well, now Travis Moorhart is the CPA for the parish, right?
I believe he is, and a good guy. Don't get me wrong, I'm not picking on Travis. I happen to like him. He tells the truth at the Cypress meetings when they allow him to speak, but that's only when they give him a left leash these days.
You mean when they allow him to speak in public?
Right. They won't let him answer questions anymore. They have a leash tied on him at the meetings.
Oh, yeah. Okay, upon a separation of employment. Well, has Robert Berry quit? Has he resigned?
See, even you figured that out with your, I don't want to make fun of Houghton, but you do it all the time. As you always claim, your Houghton education, you picked up on that immediately.
Well, you see, us Houghton people use that as a crutch against you people who think you're more intelligent so that y'all think we're dumb. But in reality, we're just using your, shortcomings against you.
There you go. The sneaky deal. Okay. So upon
later, tell me exactly what I just said. But anyway.
I have to review it. Upon separation of employment, that means quit or got fired. All right. Employees are paid for accumulated annual leave. Now hold on a minute. Accumulated annual leave upon separation of employment, and we just saw that they paid him earned accumulated leave. Let me flash that again.
Look, he's not separated. He ain't never
fired him. Did he quit? I mean, he was in the news for the South Louisiana folks that they're staying up at the Cypress Park, which is a good thing. We'll give credit where credit's due. Those folks need a place to stay.
How many? 600?
Well, they claim that they've taken up all the spots. Now, rumor has it, not rumor, we've had a couple of people reach out that actually went by the park and said there really wasn't that many people there, but maybe there are. I've not personally been out there.
So. I mean, I heard news reports saying the number of like 600, and then we've had people report to us as like 40.
You know how they are. They love those reporting accurate numbers. But one last time, employees are paid for accumulated annual leave upon separation of employment. And looky here what Robert Berry was paid. earned accumulated leave in the amount of $29,000. And you know what's interesting? I didn't see any of the meeting minutes, or I didn't hear it in any of the audio. Somebody from the Cypress District or the police jury, Philip Rogers, somebody, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't see where they voted on this at any of the meetings or even brought it up as an agenda item.
Well, it's interesting because there seems to be lots of things that nobody remembers ever happening at meetings.
Correct. Yeah, maybe it was severance pay, Candy. All right, so I want to move on to one more thing because I can sit here and beat this dead horse to death again, sort of. Okay. A lot of people have asked, and I've brought up the Cypress financials many times, and the fact that last year the Cypress District did not make one of their principal payments for the $3 million loan that they took out in 2015 when they went through the LCDA for the bonds. Okay, so last year they didn't make approximate $300,000 payment, a little less than $300,000, I think. Anyway, again, from the Legislative Auditor's report, and I've said it a couple of times on the show, hey, maybe they got a deferment. I don't know. I hadn't tried to pull the records or anything like that. Well, as it turns out, in the Legislative Auditor's report, you can see right here, I've highlighted it in yellow. Again, their information. The district and the purchaser of debt agreed. Oh, their grammar's
Agreed.
not. Agreed.
Is that freaking Halton language?
I guess. Maybe. Agreed to defer the July 1st, 2020 principal payment. The payment deferred will be paid by adding to the existing principal amounts in 2021 and 2027 amounts ranging from $30,000 to $37,000. So they're going to up the existing principal amounts over that period of time. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with this. This is, not anything abnormal. It's just interesting that Gary Weiss, the president of the Cypress District, when he met for his reappointment with the Benton Council and the mayor of Benton, funny he didn't mention any of this. Like he gave no report on any of this stuff. No report on Barry's $29,000. He did mention, though, that our numbers weren't correct. His salary is only $127,000, according to Gary. You can go back and watch the meeting. So here we go. They can't. Yeah. It's like watching a dog and pony show.
And if he would like to spin that, there is video of that meeting. It sure is a damning thing, that video.
Yeah, it's even more damning. Again, I give Mayor Shelley up there and the council a little bit of credit. They did let everybody speak and even let some people speak more than once. Credit to them for that. But the decision was made before that meeting. So again, dog and pony show. But here we go. Again, they got a deferment. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, but it does prove the point that I've been saying over and over, that had they made that payment last year, they would have been in the red last year as well. And instead, they were in the black, barely, but in the black. They would have been in the red had they made that payment. Now, I want to show you something, though. So they did that deferment last year because of COVID. Look here, again, same report. According to their own report, their net position actually increased by 1.79%. Their revenues went up to 2,229,800, almost $2,230,000 in 2020, compared to 1.8 million, almost 1.9 million in 2019. And their expenses in 2020 were 1.9 million. So they got the deferment because of COVID. And remember, the park was shut down for all intents and purposes a good part of the year, but their net position actually did increase last year. But I'd argue that was, because they didn't make that payment. Again,
I got a question.
I'm no CPA.
For you. I'm no CPA either, but I'm just wondering, when you put bond money into your general fund or whatever, is that actually revenue?
That's how they've got it in the P&Ls they send me. And by the way, remember, I think it was last week we did the debate, maybe it was the week before, that I mentioned that some of their numbers that they had sent me were off in the ad valorem tax. Okay. But I said it could be an error, so I was going to give them a chance. The Cypress District did respond to me. It is an error. They are in the process of going back through the numbers to correct that and see, where they made the error, and they're going to resend me the complete numbers probably within a
So,
few days.
so what you're telling us is they acknowledged to you that they sent you factually incorrect information.
Yes, they did.
Notice I said factually incorrect. I mean, that's some kind of
Right.
lawyer jargon or whatever, but
Right.
I want to see how it sounded. But
Yeah.
anyway, so they
Yeah.
acknowledge that.
Yes, they. Again, I'll give them credit.
That
At first place, they
good
sent the
credit
wrong
where credit's
information,
due.
but at least they did. Remember, last year I had a very similar issue, only it was a couple of $1,000s, and they just flat out refused to acknowledge the error, even though it was plain as day, and even had the lawyers reply to me, Alex herself, that, oh no, they weren't resending all the numbers because they had already sent them to me and they were correct. I was right then, just like I'm right this time, at least this year.
Well,
They've decided to correct their error and resend those numbers to me.
good for them, for at least giving the public the benefit of the doubt to
Right.
be able to hear it and, digest it themselves. I
Yeah.
mean, good to them.
Yeah. And a couple of quick things and then I'll wrap out of this. So this is from the Legislative Auditor's Office. This was an email that was forwarded. It says, in reviewing the entire audit, we've noticed there are no findings. Some folks wanted to have the Legislative Auditor's Office do a full audit or whatever. And here in this last paragraph, I highlighted in yellow, basically because of the issues going on in both the court system and with the Board of Ethics with the Cypress District, the auditor will keep the matter open but not proceed until the litigations are resolved. So that's where it sits as far as having a in-depth audit from the Legislative Auditor's Office. So I wanted to share that out.
I suspect that could drag on for a while.
It could, and honestly, I mean, based on what I've seen with the financials, a lot of people, I'm sharing here what the prohibited use of public funds are. From what I've seen so far, other than some kind of sketchy reporting on the general contractors for the $3 million that they did, handwritten timesheets, whatever. My deal is, again, the park itself is exceedingly top heavy. We've got entirely too much overhead. And that's been my contention all along. Now, whether that's a problem with the Legislative Auditor's Office, honestly, I doubt it, as long as what they report is correct. So I just want people to understand that just because we think they're top heavy and all that doesn't necessarily mean they're doing something illegal or, against ethics guidelines.
You can say what you want, but $127,000 a year to operate a park that size, I'm sorry, I don't believe that is a appropriate salary. I mean, I know they say he does the job of 6 men. He's older than me, and he does the job of 6 men. I'm sorry, that's not
I
right.
think it's entirely too much money too. We've had several people that have offered now, again, whether they would actually do it or not, offer to do it for much less than that. Some retired folks that actually, would save the district some money, but that's a whole other story.
But you and I both know this is another example of the GOB network. Some people say the GOB network doesn't exist, but that's BS. It's real.
Yes.
It exists, and there is no better example than that fiasco out there at the Cypress District.
Yeah, again, it's like chewing oysters. It just keeps on and on going. Okay. And one other quick thing that I want to add, and folks, we're not going to get in the habit of this, but there is, if you're around the Cypress or Benton Fire District, there's a Professional Firefighters Association. They're doing a fundraising raffle. It's my understanding, I'm not involved in this raffle, but it's my understanding that this money is going to go to some things that fire district up there actually needs, and they will put to immediate use. And so I just want to share that out there. Find one of the firefighters around Benton and ask them about these raffle tickets, and or leave a message here. I'll try to reach out with them. We're not going to be in the business of promoting raffles all the time, but I did in a phone conversation say that I would at least mention this, so I want to go follow through.
Here. What about Bossier City? You know, a lot of our folks are on pins and needles waiting on us to jump off in Bossier City. You know, we got the Don of Bossier versus the Three Amigos, right?
Yes, we do. So let's discuss that for a minute. And I
A
don't,
minute? Just a minute?
oh man. Well, I don't really have any screenshots to show, but let's talk about it for a minute.
That won't
So,
even describe some people's egos in a minute. You can't
y-
even go there.
yeah, if you're from South Bossier, have some friends in South Bossier, may want to reach out to them because I've got some real issues going on here with the Three Amigos. I really do. It's like they may have turned into the Three Stooges. Well, let me correct that. Not all three of them. So I'm not ready to throw all three of them under the bus. And I'll give Chris Smith some credit, a lot of credit, as a matter of fact. He's been doing a good job that I've seen so far on Facebook, sharing out information. He shares out the agenda. He did apparently make some phone calls and that sort of thing to try to get in preparation for flooding in South Bossier if that happened, depending on which way the hurricane tracked and all that sort of thing. And even though, obviously we didn't need it. So he seems to be on top of all that. So I definitely give Chris Smith some credit. He does make motions even if nobody seconds them. At least he's trying to do it. But I got to tell you, this is I don't even know how to describe it nicely.
Well, I'm assuming you're talking about what we just saw happen regarding the appointment to the Works Department, right?
Yes, yeah, that was Wade Rich, isn't that the guy's name?
Wade Rich. Don't know
Okay.
him. You know him?
I don't know him. I don't. Not that I can recall. Maybe I met him in passing somewhere. I have no idea. No, I don't.
I don't know him either. I have talked to people who regard him highly that say that he is a competent individual in the field that he comes from, which is the construction industry. I mean, I understand they say he's been in the construction industry 25 to 30 plus years.
Well, that sounds like enough experience to me.
Yeah. So what a lot of folks don't know or may know, just to catch you up. So uh, Wade Rich was nominated by the mayor to be the head of public works, right?
Correct? Yes.
And it's my understanding that the city charter has, like, it's, I would say, kind of vague on the qualification requirements. I mean, it basically says you got to have a degree, but it kind of doesn't really go super in depth. I mean, it doesn't say specifically one field, this, that, or whatever. But what I will say, and what we kind of dug a little bit was, and we determined that Wade Rich does, in fact, he has a bachelor's degree from Louisiana Tech. So if you're a Louisiana Tech alumni, this is one of your people.
Right. Yes. Yeah.
And go ahead.
Oh, no. Well, I was just going to say, so um, basically, it's my understanding that Mayor Tommy Chandler, he tried to appoint Shane as CAO, and that's just fallen flat and gone nowhere, and Tommy hadn't been able to do anything with that. And so then he appointed, or I guess was attempting to appoint, I guess would be the proper thing now, Wade Rich. But of course, there's a little political drama with that, right?
Yeah. So Wade Rich, Tommy, as I understand, nominated him to be the public works director.
Hmm.
And in late July, all of the councilmen supposedly met with him, went over his credentials, and were all like, "Hey, thumbs
Hmm.
up, all's good."
Right.
So, um, I think it was August the 3rd, you know, they're going to have a council meeting, and they're going to, you know, not he's nominated, he's going on the agenda, they're going to vote for him. And as you remember, Montgomery I don't know if he did the old point of order thing, but he blocked
I
him.
think he did, but yeah, effectively blocked or killed the nomination.
He basically jumped up there and said, "Well, it says, we've got some questions on the charter. We got some questions on the charter."
Mm-hmm.
Well, word on the street is that same day before the council meeting, that David Montgomery made a call to Mr. Rich and said, "Hey," said, "just want to let you know we're going to appoint you at a future meeting, but we got some problems with the mayor, and we're not going to appoint you this meeting. We're going to wait and do it later. We got some issues with the mayor."
Really? Okay.
That's what I
So,
heard.
wow. Okay.
So now they all done met with Rich, and they all done determined that he's qualified, right? And so Montgomery blocks him. Fast forward to the next meeting, I think, which was around August the 17th, something like that,
Mm-hmm.
or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Well, his nomination got pulled off the agenda.
Okay, so let me make sure I got this straight. Tommy's going to appoint him. Montgomery decides to jack around with Tommy, in addition to the Cheatham deal, and basically kills the nomination, but lets Wade Rich know, hey, we'll do this at a future deal. In other words, we're doing this just to mess with Tommy. So they're going to put him back on the agenda to nominate him on the 17th, but his name was pulled again.
Well, I don't know exactly the details, but it was supposed to be on the agenda, but it got pulled again. I understand it. I think it got pulled by Tommy Chandler. I don't know the exact circumstances, but I think it got pulled by Tommy Chandler. So then fast forward to the 30th, it's supposed to be, or it's, I think, this meeting here, it was supposed to be on the agenda again, right?
Okay.
Well, so
wait, do we know why it got pulled on the 17th or who did it? It's got to be in the records or in the minutes. Was it Tommy that pulled him out on the 17th by the records?
As I understand it, there happened to be a letter that was read from Mr. Wade Rich.
Oh.
And it said something to the effect of that he saw no way that this position with the city of Bossier wouldn't be politicized. And I'm not using his exact words. I don't know. I'm just conveying the way I understood it. But that there was no way that the position would not be politicized between the mayor and the council, and that therefore he would remove his name from consideration and basically resign from being considered.
Okay, so I'm putting this timeline up here. Hold on. Let's make sure I've got this kind of straight. So, August the 3rd, David killed the nomination effectively by doing his point of order business and all that. We all saw that show. The August the 17th, and so sometime in between then they agreed to put him on the agenda for the 17th. Wade Rich was withdrawn again on the 17th, and if the records are right, or if I remember reading it correctly, he was withdrawn by Tommy Chandler at that point.
Correct.
Okay, so sometime between August the 17th, that meeting, and the 30th, Tommy and Wade made up and figured it out, whatever happened, right?
Right. He's supposedly going to be back on the agenda on I guess the 30th.
Okay, and so on the 30th, which was yesterday or whenever, yeah, the meeting was today.
No, it would have been today.
It would have been today.
The 31st, not the 30th.
So let me correct that date there, because today is the 31st, and there was a city council meeting today. Wade withdrew himself, according to his letter, because of being a political pawn, or due to the politics of the situation, or whatever the scenario was. Anybody watching that paid attention to the meeting today want to give us a little bit of feedback on this? And yeah, I agree, this does sound like a bad case of the dating game.
Now, I got to tell you, there was one more little bit of intrigue that came my way that I was able to root out on this that kind of makes me scratch my head a little bit. Supposedly, as it would turn out, Wade Rich is really good buddies with Walt Bigby.
Oh, wait. Where have we heard Walt Bigby before?
Walt on the Cypress District
Oh.
Board, appointed by the city of Bossier, who's
Hmm.
really good friends with David Montgomery.
Oh, so the claim, if correct, would be that Walt may have been acting as the go-between messenger between Montgomery and Wade Rich. And basically
No,
Montgomery poisoned the well?
I don't know. I don't know that. I am speculating, trying to connect the dots here or whatever. But I'm telling you, there's some interesting connections here. And Wade Rich to just withdraw himself again. I mean, but David Montgomery had a hand in all of it. So
Well, yeah, boy, it pains me to say it, but yeah, Montgomery's doing some masterful political moves, and I would argue that he's probably got some help.
probably so. And I would contend that uh, Tommy can't carry David Montgomery's water right now politically.
No, so Tommy, if you're listening, got high hopes for you, but right now you playing second fiddle to David Montgomery, and you're playing right into his hand. If folks voted for change, and right now it's politics as usual, whoever is advising you, don't listen to them anymore. You need a better advisor because David Montgomery is outsmarting you at he's outsmarting you before every turn on these little political shenanigans. So anyway, there's my public advice.
Well, in other news, I hear that Shack is up for no bid contracts.
What?
I'm, these nanobites, whatever, for sewage and stuff or whatever, that there may be there may be, even if the city wants to go to the nano process of processing sewer or water or whatever, that in Manshak's contract may be that the city can't even consider other bids from anybody else. They have to give it to Manshak. How does that happen?
So I
It's
don't even
almost
know
like insurance at the Cypress District.
I don't even know where to begin with that. How do we get involved with a company? They're like the CIA
I mean, look, if
of
you're in the insurance
local
business,
government.
if you're in the insurance business, do you get an opportunity? I mean, if I'm an insurance agent, do I get an opportunity to bid on insurance for, say, the Red River Waterway Commission, the Cypress? Do I get an opportunity? Can I throw my hat in the ring to try to get that business? What do I got
Apparently
to
so.
do?
All right, so I got to address one thing. So our mysterious Mark Smith says masterful political moves. Told you. Mark Smith mysteriously. Let me be clear. I'm not saying David is doing these masterful moves. Trust me, I know who's behind this game. I'm just saying they're pretty good moves that could easily be beaten and deflected, except whoever is advising Tommy, and I don't care who it is, y'all suck. Okay. Sorry, Duke.
I'm
Back to
gonna
Manchac.
let me second that. Okay,
Oh
you're
my
not gonna get to
God.
have that glory by yourself because I agree.
This is nuts. The three amigos are down to two. And I would argue maybe one and a half because, Shane's sitting out there in limbo doing
Yeah,
whatever Shane's doing.
is that actually two? I don't
Yeah.
know. Can he count himself because he's not in the game?
Oh, okay. So I got to address one more thing. Mysterious Mark Smith. Mark Smith says, so we agree on something. It pain
Finally, I
it
guess maybe.
it pains me to say this, but maybe so. Okay. Anyway, so I'm sorry. Back to Manchac and their no big contracts. They've got their hand in everything.
They got their hands in a lot. I mean, it almost begs the question. I mean, look, I showed you a letter today that underneath, what's that guy's name? How do you pronounce it? I mean,
I don't even know. I'd butcher it if I tried it right now.
Robiche, or I don't
Something.
know.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't mean to say it wrong. I
Right.
cannot pronounce it or whatever. But underneath his name on the letter that I got, it says city engineer, and I'm
Huh.
like,
I
wait a
thought we
minute.
were looking for a city engineer.
The mayor appoints city engineer. How in the hell is it that this guy's got city engineer under his title? You know, and
I,
it's got an attached letter from the office of the city engineer, Bossier City.
yeah.
How does that
Here's
happen?
his name. Ben. Crap. Where is it? I just had it right here. Yeah. So, yeah, current city engineer Mark Hudson, sorry, retired in July. This is according to Bossier Now, and I think we kind of reported a little bit on it too. But that's according to Bossier Now. And so Manchak's senior project manager Ben Rauschenbach, does that sound correct? Would be head of the city engineering's, or Darby was asking if Rauschenbach would be the head of the city's engineering department. Hope I'm saying that correctly. So, uh, I don't know. We'll see. All right. Can you still hear me? Well, let me see if we're still live. Hold on just a second. Let's check and see. Hello there, Mr. Lowry. Can you hear me? I have no audio from you. Oh, Mr. Lowry. Yeah, we're still live, Duke, but I have no audio from you. I have no audio from you. We're still live. All right, hold on. Time out for just a second, folks. Technical difficulty here. Let's see. Okay. Okay. Yeah, something happened. We're still live. Okay. All right, I'll talk to you in a little bit. Okay, folks. Well, Duke's ran into some, I don't know if it's a connection issue or what's going on. So we'll go ahead and wrap it up with this. We've got some no bid contracts going on. Whether Manchak's doing something good, bad, or in between isn't the point. This doesn't look good. Duke, can you hear us now?
I can hear you.
Okay, I can hear you now perfectly. Maybe you had a connection hiccup or something.
I don't know. Robert Berry or somebody done hacked into my feed.
He's going to be out there cutting your lines. Yep.
Next thing you know, they're going to have pictures of me with the Horn Viking guy at the Capitol on January 6th, and I'll be in some gulag somewhere, and you'll never hear about me again.
Yeah, no kidding. Well, it's getting close time to wrap it up. We're like an hour and a half now, so here's the deal. And so what I was saying, Duke, is here's the deal with Manchak and the no bid contracts and all that, and whether he's really the city engineer or not. I'm not saying that Manchak's doing anything wrong per se. I don't have any proof of that one way or the other. It just doesn't look good on the surface. It just doesn't
It
look good at all.
it doesn't, and overall, why? I mean, why is it that some people continue to keep getting government business? It needs to be spread around. Other people need to have opportunity. It shouldn't be that certain people or certain entities always get the business.
I
There
agree.
needs to be other people get to see opportunity.
Yeah, the good old boys network is real. We've seen it over and over in the city council, the police jury, and we got some more to share. And I'd like to point this up. Mr. Jeter, Lee Jeter, who is a super nice guy, super good guy, he said, can we get an investigation into all these things? The citizens of Bossier deserve better. I agree with you 100%, Lee. Right now, the best we can do is putting this information out there and trying to stir the pot some.
Yeah, salute Lee Jeter. I mean, yeah, agree with him 100%, and don't know what it takes to kind of get things rolling in that direction, but that's definitely where we need to go.
Yeah, and I'd like to point out one last thing too, because I was supposed to do it last show, but of course we uh, had the debate going on and all that. So let me see if I can put this up on the screen. So first thing, um, I am not behind this group, but there is a group. We're in recall mode, I guess, around here. So there is a group out there that is putting together another petition to recall Robert Berry under the new HB 630 law. I'm not behind this group, Duke. As far as I know, you're not either. But I did want to share out their Proton Mail address. So apparently they're following our lead with Proton Mail. So if you're interested in any of that, you can send an email to taxpayersforbettergovernment@protonmail.com. Again, I'm not leading that. They're just using Proton Mail as well. But they are putting together another petition under HB 630 to recall Robert Berry. And all that information will be public information as well once that gets going and all that. Then we also have the Bubba Don Williams situation, which I did reach out to the folks doing that just to get a status. They're up to, he said, hundreds of signatures. I didn't ask for an exact number or copy of them yet. I'm trying to give them a little bit more time to get plenty of signatures before we pull those records. And somebody mentioned that there's some school board members that are like, there's some people with pitchforks and torches after a couple of the Bossier school board members now. So this is like the year of the recall in Bossier Parish. So, you know, Lee, an investigation, I don't know, but there are some folks mad. There are some folks trying recalls. Whether that works or not, we'll see. But yeah, something's got to be done with some of the stuff.
I like the political activism or whatever, but recalls are tough.
Yeah, they are.
From strategically, numerically, they're hard. They're really hard to do. Then you have to turn around and you have to run a race and win a race. You got to have a candidate, and then you got to run and win the race.
Yeah.
And I can see for a lot of people to get their plate broke and get irritated and maybe walk away, in which because they don't know 100% what they're getting themselves into. But I hate that, but I do like to see the political activism.
Yeah, I agree 100%. So we'll keep reporting on it as we ask for and receive information. And folks, one last thing, and we'll get out of here. If you got some information you want to share, send an email to BossierWatch@protonmail.com. Go make your free Proton Mail account. Keep it completely anonymous. And send us whatever information. We get that all the time. We'll be glad to start looking into it. If you want to donate us a little coffee money, go to BossierWatch.org and click donate. You can donate if you want. If not, Duke, I'm still having fun. And we're on, episode 51 here. And we've done, I don't know, 6 or 8 Louisiana watches. So I'm still having fun. What about you?
I am too. So political activism. Everybody on Benton Road in the morning, everybody get in the left lane. Nobody get in the right lane.
All zipper.
All zipper. Left. Everybody in the left lane when nobody's going to go in the right lane.
Let's get out of here. See you later, Duke.
Good night.
Good night.